What's good everyone, yadiiiigg, 4 eyes, 2 G's here, and today we're here to talk about Playboi Carti and yadiiiigg. And as you guys know, I am a diehard Playboi Carti stan, and with the 1 year anniversary of yadiiiigg just recently, I thought why not kind of go back, look back on the album and do this whole tier ranking type of video on it. Now, just to clarify how this video is going to work, I'm going to have 4 different tiers. So there's the GOAT tier, which of course are the GOAT tier tracks, you know, the ones that really stand out and you know the peak of the album. Then we go down to the Fire tier, and these tracks are still really good. They're standouts, they're probably top 5 to top 10, but they're not quite in that GOAT tier. Then we move down to the mid tier, and these tracks are still good in their own right. I might like certain parts of them, but there are certain aspects of the songs that maybe I don't really like that makes them a step down. And lastly, we get to the skip tier, and as the name suggests, it's kind of those songs that maybe I could do without on the album. They don't really add much to the album for me at least, and I'm generally skipping on every listen. Now, just to be clear, I don't think yadiiiigg has any bad songs in it. I basically like every single song. But just for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be really brutal and super critical because I do have to kind of have it even and have to have some S tier, I have to have some mid tier, and I'm sure I'm going to get some hate for some of these in the comments, so let me know in the comments below what you guys got in what tier, if you guys agree with me, if you guys disagree with me, and all that good stuff. But let's get into it. Let's begin with the very first song on the album, Long Time. And if Long Time isn't in your GOAT tier and you call yourself a Playboi Carti fan, I don't know what to say, because this song right here is the pinnacle of the album. It sets the album up perfectly. The production is so wavy, Carti kills it as well, and there's a certain emotion on this track that's so tangible. Top 3 off yadiiiigg for me, and it's really stand out in Carti's discography. Alright, moving on, we get to R.I.P, the second track. R.I.P for me goes into the fire category. I do like it a lot. It's energetic, the beat is thumping, and Carti really comes through with a lot of energy on this track. And when it's played live, it goes absolutely ham as well. Really, really good track. Moving down again, we get to Lean For Real with Skepta. And this might be a bit of a controversial one, but this one goes into the GOAT tier for me. I don't know what it is about this track, but Lean For Real just really connects with me. The production with that synth is so nice. Skepta's verse is so good. Carti kills it on the hook, and with his own verse is pretty nice as well. And the way the song comes together with its psychedelic atmosphere is so nice. It's really grown to become a standout of the album, and that's why I put it in my GOAT tier. Moving on, we get to Old Money. And Old Money, to be honest, it's in my skip tier. I don't know. It's not a bad song, I kind of like it, I might listen to it every now and then, but it just doesn't really add much to the album in my opinion, and chances are I'm skipping it. Carti doesn't really do much on it for me, so it's a skip. Then moving on, we get the Love Hurts with Travis Scott. This track right here, I'm going to put in between mid and fire. It's not quite in that amazing tier for me in terms of the rest of the album, and it's one of those songs where I'll go through different phases for it. I'll go through periods where I really like it and it stands out, and then I'll go through other periods where maybe I'm not really feeling it as much and I'm skipping it a lot, so it kind of sits between that fire and mid tier for me. And before we move on to the next track, guys, just a reminder, if you haven't, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you aren't, turn on those notifications so you guys won't miss a video of mine, and make sure to follow your boy in all social medias for more. Also, I have just dropped the new Playboi Carti merch designed by @DeathToAQ. He snapped on this design. It's absolutely fire. The link is in the description to cop one if you're interested. These are most likely gonna sell out, so make sure to get one if you're interested, and I've got other merch on there right now as well. But moving on, we just had Love Hurts. Let's move on to Shooter. Not much need to be said about this song. Fire tier for sure. Really good collaboration between Uzi and Carti once again. Really shows their chemistry, and the leaked version is so good as well. Moving on, after that, we get to Right Now with Pierre Bourne. Mid tier. I'm just gonna say it. Like, I like the track, and Carti is really nice on it. I do like Carti's verse. I do like his hook as well. But Pierre Bourne, I don't know, I just don't really think he added that much to this track vocally. It's definitely not on that level of a Shooter or R.I.P for me, so it lands in that mid tier. Then after Right Now, we get to Poke It Out with Nicki Minaj. I do think Nicki's verse on this track does get judged a bit too harshly because it is pretty nice, but still, same case with Right Now. It's a good track, but really, if we're being honest, does it compare to R.I.P or Shooter or Long Time? Absolutely not. Mid tier for me. Then moving on from Poke It Out, we get to Home. And this track, I was kind of debating back and forth. I ended up putting it in fire tier, but it could have made the GOAT tier. I love this track a lot. I really think Carti comes through with some nice verses, with some vivid imagery, and that production is kind of slow and it's kind of wavy as well. Then after Home, we get to Fall in Love with Bryson Tiller. Kind of the same as Home as Me. This maybe could have made it in my GOAT tier, but it's not quite on that level for me personally. Still a standout from this album though. The production glistens, it's intoxicating, and Bryson Tiller, although I'm not really much of a fan of his solo music, I do think with the topic of this track, his feature adds a really nice touch to it. Then after Fall in Love, we get to Foreign. Definitely a fire tier for me. One of my favorite tracks out of the album to play in the car. It slaps so hard, and I really think Carti glides on this with his flow. Then after Foreign, we get to Pull Up, and Pull Up, I don't know why, I just don't connect with this song that much. It goes in the skip tier for me. I remember everyone was kind of gassing it up before Dilit because Carti played it live. When it dropped, I was kind of a bit underwhelmed with it, and still, on a normal listen of Dilit, it's probably going to be a skip for me. Then after Pull Up, we get to Mileage with Chief Keef. And this is another one of those tracks that either could have been in fire or mid. I do still like it a lot, but I don't think it lands in that top 5, top 8 tracks off of Dilit. It kind of sits in that second half of the album for me. So just like Love Hurts, I'm going to put it between fire and mid. Then after Mileage, we get to Flatbed Freestyle. I've talked about this track a lot on my channel before. Baby voice Carti in his essence on this. Definitely GOAT tier, and really nothing else to be said about it. Then after Flatbed Freestyle, we get to No Time. Or mid tier, I don't know. No Time is one of those tracks that like everybody seems to like, but again, I just don't really connect to it in the same way. And this is another case of one of those songs that is good, but still, is it in the top 5 to top 10 tracks of Dilit? Probably not for me at least. And so I do kind of have to be brutal with it, and I'm gonna put No Time in the mid tier, although I do think for most people it does make that fire tier for them. Then after No Time, we get to Middle of the Summer. Really, really good track. Definitely in the fire tier for me. Cold Hearted absolutely kills the feature. And it's one of those tracks that really goes well in the car as well. I like this track a lot. Definitely in the top 5 to top 10 tracks off of Dilit for me. Fire tier for sure. After Middle of the Summer, we get to Chopper Won't Miss with Young Thug. Mid tier. I have to be honest, this is one of those tracks that is kind of like a dream come true collaboration with me. Although I'm not super into Young Thug's recent material, his stuff back in that 2015 to 2016 era was amazing, and I stand him super hard back then. So hearing about a possible collab between him and Carti got me so interested to hear what they would come up with. And the final result, again, just for me, it was good. It's not like it's a bad track, but still, it didn't quite live up to my expectations of a Thug and Carti collab, so it lands in that mid tier for me. After Chopper Won't Miss, we get to R.I.P Fredo. Fire track, both Nudie and Carti kill it. Not much needs to be said about this. Standout on the album for sure. Then lastly, we get to Top with Pierre. And to be honest, I don't know why this track was a closer on this album. And just overall, one of those tracks I never really gravitated towards. I don't really find myself playing it that much. Again, it's not like it's a terrible track, but it just doesn't really do much compared to the rest of the album for me, so Top lands in my skip tier. But that rounds out my list right there. Thanks a lot for watching. As I said, let me know in the comments below where you would put these different tracks in your list. I'm sure I've made a few controversial statements to a lot of Carti fans out there, but hey, that just is what it is. It's just my opinion. Thanks a lot for watching. If you haven't, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you aren't. Turn on those notifications as well so you guys don't miss a video of mine. And make sure to follow your boy on all social medias for more. And as I said, new merch in the description and other videos of mine on screen right now. Make sure to check them out if you haven't.